Beating a narcissist isn't about revenge. It's not about proving them wrong or watching them fall apart. It's about reaching a point where they no longer control your emotions, your choices, or your peace. It's the quiet victory of detachment. When you realize their words no longer sting, their silence no longer scares you, and their presence no longer defines your worth. The first clear sign you've beaten the narcissist is emotional neutrality. You don't feel hatred, fear, or obsession. You simply feel nothing. That calm silence inside you is power. Narcissists feed on emotional reaction, whether it's love or anger. When you stop reacting, they lose access to your energy. Your peace becomes the boundary they can't cross. They used to know exactly which buttons to press. A certain tone, a certain phrase could send you spiraling. But now, those same tactics feel empty. You watch them attempt the same manipulation and see it for what it is, predictable and tired. That's how you know you've outgrown the game. You're no longer triggered, you're just observing. Another sign is when you stop explaining yourself. You used to justify every decision, every boundary, every emotion. Now you simply act. You don't seek their approval or understanding. You've learned that narcissists don't listen to hear. They listen to twist. By choosing silence over explanation, you've taken away their favorite weapon, your words. Freedom starts when their opinion stops mattering. Once, their validation felt like oxygen. Now, it feels irrelevant. You've realized their praise was conditional and their criticism was projection. You no longer shrink under their judgment because you understand something they never will. Your value isn't negotiable. You can tell you've beaten them when you stop checking their updates. You don't stalk their social media, ask mutual friends about them, or wonder if they miss you. Their life simply fades into the background noise of the world. You don't hate them, you're just done investing energy in someone who only drained it. Indifference is the truest form of freedom. The narcissist will sense this shift. They'll test your boundaries, sending casual messages or trying to provoke a reaction. But your response, calm, brief, or none at all, confuses them. They can't comprehend peace. They mistake it for arrogance because they only understand control. But peace is the proof that you've broken free from their emotional leash. They might accuse you of being cold or heartless. Let them. Their opinion no longer defines you. You're not cruel. You're healed. Their insults don't pierce because you've built emotional armor out of clarity. You see them as they truly are. Fragile behind the mask. Desperate behind the arrogance. That understanding destroys their power. Another sign is emotional predictability. Their chaos used to pull you in. You never knew what version of them you'd get. Now you see the pattern so clearly it's almost boring. The same tricks, the same guilt trips, the same fake apologies. Once you stop hoping for change, you stop getting hurt. Their manipulation becomes background noise, not a storm. You stop needing closure. Narcissists never give genuine closure because accountability threatens their ego. But you no longer need their explanation. You've given yourself closure through acceptance. You stopped asking, "Why did they do this to me?" and started saying, "I deserve peace." That's the moment you win, when the answer no longer matters. A major sign of victory is emotional detachment from their highs and lows. They could post about being happy or miserable, and you feel nothing. No jealousy, no pity, no curiosity. You've reclaimed your emotional independence. They can no longer control your mood through their actions. That's when they realize the supply has run dry. You've beaten the narcissist when silence becomes your response to provocation. They expect fireworks, but you give them stillness. They crave chaos, but you offer calm. It's not about ignoring them. It's about refusing to participate. Every time you stay grounded, their ego deflates. You win not by fighting harder, but by no longer needing to fight at all. They try to bait you with nostalgia. Remember when we were good, they'll say. But you remember everything. The charm, the cruelty, the confusion. Nostalgia no longer blinds you because you've separated the illusion from the truth. You see their affection as manipulation, not love. That clarity is your shield against every false memory. When you start laughing again, genuinely, freely, it's another sign. Laughter doesn't coexist with control. You can tell you've healed when joy returns naturally, without fear of punishment or guilt. The narcissist once made you feel guilty for being happy without them. Now, your laughter echoes like a victory anthem in the silence they left behind. You've beaten them when you stop trying to prove who they are to others. You don't need to expose them, warn people, or seek validation for your pain. The truth always reveals itself with time. Their patterns will out them without your help. You save your energy for your own growth, not their destruction. That's maturity, and they'll never reach it. You begin to notice the contrast between how you used to feel and how you feel now. Before, you were anxious, waiting for their next move. Now, you wake up peaceful. You make plans without fear of judgment. You enjoy silence without worrying it means punishment. That's serenity. That's steadiness. It's the clearest proof you've reclaimed your power. Their drama no longer attracts you. You used to crave their attention, even if it came through conflict. Now, drama feels exhausting. You choose peace over adrenaline, solitude over toxicity. You've realized that not every silence needs to be filled, and not every wound deserves reopening. That calm detachment terrifies them because they can't disrupt it. You've beaten them when forgiveness becomes easy, not for their sake, but yours. Forgiveness doesn't mean forgetting or reconciling. It means you refuse to carry their poison anymore. You release resentment because it keeps you connected to them. Letting go isn't weakness. It's closure without conversation. Another unmistakable sign. You trust yourself again. The narcissist made you doubt your intuition. You second-guessed every feeling, every decision. Now, your inner voice is clear and confident. You listen to it, and it guides you away from manipulation before it starts. Trusting yourself again is the biggest revenge, because they spent so long trying to destroy that trust. You no longer personalize their behavior. You understand it wasn't about you. It was about their insecurity. You don't carry their projections anymore. Their cruelty reflected their chaos, not your worth. Once you stop taking their actions personally, you stop being their victim. You become what they fear most, untouchable. You've beaten the narcissist when empathy no longer keeps you stuck. You can feel compassion for their wounds without sacrificing yourself. You understand that pain doesn't excuse abuse. You can wish them healing from a distance. Loving them once was human. Walking away was divine. That balance of heart and boundary marks true recovery. They'll test this new version of you eventually. A random message, a subtle, "hope you're well." But your reaction, or lack of one, says it all. You're not tempted. You don't need to prove you've moved on. Your silence is proof enough. Narcissists crave energy. You've stopped giving yours freely, and that's the end of their control. Your body tells the story too. The tension in your shoulders, the anxiety in your chest, they're gone. You sleep better, breathe deeper, smile more. Your body is no longer in fight or flight mode. It's resting, trusting again. Healing isn't just emotional, it's physical. When peace settles into your bones, you know the war is over. The narcissist's opinion no longer defines your day. They could praise or insult you, and you'd respond the same way, with indifference. That's balance. You've outgrown their emotional roller coaster. What once made your heart race now barely moves your pulse. That's not coldness. It's mastery over your emotions. It's self-control born from awareness. You stop defending your story. You don't need others to understand every detail. The people meant for you believe your truth without proof. You no longer waste breath explaining trauma to those who can't comprehend it. You've moved from storytelling to living again. The narcissist lives in performance. You live in authenticity. That difference is victory. You can see them clearly now, without emotion distorting the view. You understand their patterns, the charm, the lies, the sudden withdrawal. It all looks mechanical. Their behavior no longer feels personal. It feels textbook. Seeing them through this lens robs them of mystery. What once confused you now bores you, and boredom means freedom. A powerful sign you've won. You don't need them to fail. You no longer stalk for karma or hope they suffer. You're too busy growing. Their downfall, if it happens, isn't your concern. You've learned that healing is its own justice. The fact that you survived them and still have a soft heart is the greatest victory of all. You've beaten them when your peace no longer feels fragile. At first, healing felt temporary, like one text could shatter it. But now, it's solid. Their name doesn't trigger anxiety. Their memory doesn't reopen wounds. Peace feels permanent because it's built on boundaries, not hope. They can't touch you anymore. Not emotionally, not spiritually. Your boundaries no longer come with guilt. Saying no doesn't feel cruel. Protecting your energy feels natural. You no longer need to over-explain or apologize for prioritizing yourself. Narcissists train you to equate self-respect with selfishness. But now you know better. Boundaries aren't rejection. They're self-love in action. You stop replaying the past looking for what-ifs. You've accepted that some people never change, and closure isn't always mutual. Acceptance brings peace. The story no longer hurts. It just exists. The past becomes a lesson, not a life sentence. You've graduated from the classroom of chaos, and your diploma is peace. You've beaten them when their name no longer brings emotion, only understanding. You can talk about what happened calmly, without shaking, without tears. It's not numbness, it's growth. You've processed the pain, learned the lesson, and released the story. The narcissist's chapter no longer defines your book. You've turned the page, and it feels peaceful. A major sign of victory is when their silence no longer feels like punishment. It once triggered anxiety, making you question what you did wrong. Now, it feels like peace. Their absence is no longer something to fix. It's something to celebrate. You realize silence isn't rejection. It's redirection toward yourself and your healing. They'll try to sense if they still have emotional power. A random post, a subtle message, just to see if you'll react. But you don't. You've mastered emotional neutrality. Your silence confuses them because they mistake peace for punishment. But peace doesn't punish. It protects. And your calmness is their reminder that manipulation has an expiration date. You know you've won when you stop trying to understand them. You used to study their behavior like a mystery you needed to solve. Now, you see that understanding them won't heal you. It only keeps you tethered. You stop analyzing and start living. Their psychology no longer fascinates you because your peace has become more interesting. They may still talk about you, twisting stories, seeking sympathy, but it no longer bothers you. You understand that when they speak your name, it says more about them than it ever could about you. You don't need to defend yourself. Truth reveals itself over time. And your calm silence always speaks louder than their noise. You've beaten them when you start feeling empathy for the person you used to be. You look back at your old self, confused, hurting, hopeful, and you feel love, not shame. You stop blaming yourself for what you didn't know. You see how much strength it took just to survive. That self-compassion is healing. It's how you turn trauma into wisdom. Another clear sign is emotional independence. You don't look for validation, even from good people. You validate yourself. You trust your judgment, your instincts, your choices. The narcissist taught you how painful dependency can be, and from that pain, you learned self-sufficiency. You no longer crave someone to fix you because you've done that yourself. You've beaten them when their old tactics start showing up in others, and you spot them instantly. Manipulation, gaslighting, guilt trips. You recognize them like a language you once spoke but no longer use. Awareness has become your protection. The narcissist gave you unwilling lessons, but you turned them into armor. Now, you see clearly and choose wisely. Peace becomes your new addiction. You crave quiet mornings, healthy conversations, and laughter that doesn't come with conditions. The intensity of toxic love no longer excites you. It exhausts you. You've learned that calmness isn't boring. It's safe. You don't chase adrenaline anymore. You choose serenity. That shift terrifies narcissists because it means they've lost their hold. You start attracting different people, genuine souls, not manipulators. You notice how easy healthy relationships feel. No confusion, no silent punishment, no emotional whiplash. You realize how much energy the narcissist drained from your life, and as kindness flows back in, you wonder how you ever mistook chaos for love. That realization is your rebirth. You can tell you've truly won when you no longer wish things had gone differently. Acceptance replaces resentment. You understand that the pain was your teacher, not your identity. Every tear, every sleepless night led you to this clarity. You stop fighting the past because it shaped you into someone wiser, calmer, and stronger than before. You also stop arguing with their version of events. They can tell whatever story they want. You don't need the world to believe you anymore. You know what's true. Truth doesn't need defending. It stands the test of time. You've stopped needing justice from people who live in denial. Your peace is justice enough. They may still try to circle back when life humbles them. But this time, their charm feels empty. The same words that once melted you now sound rehearsed. You no longer confuse intensity with intimacy. You've learned that real love doesn't come with confusion. That awareness makes you unbreakable. They can't fool you twice. You notice how their presence used to fill space, but never your soul. Now, your life feels full without them. Full of genuine people, hobbies, laughter, and quiet moments. You no longer miss them. You miss who you thought they were. And when you accept that difference, you free yourself completely. That's the final goodbye, even without words. You've beaten them when their energy no longer lingers. You stop feeling the emotional hangover after seeing them or hearing their name. Their energy no longer invades your mind because you've closed the door spiritually. You don't just move on physically. You've reclaimed your emotional and energetic boundaries. You are finally free, inside and out. You might hear they're struggling or pretending to thrive. Either way, it doesn't affect you. You no longer track their karma. You trust the universe to handle what it must. Your job is only to protect your peace. Detachment is your quiet victory. The realization that healing isn't about them anymore. It's about you building a life untouched by their chaos. You start helping others who went through what you did. Not out of bitterness, but compassion. You share wisdom, not warnings. You inspire others to find the strength you once had to search for. That's the ultimate transformation, turning pain into purpose. The narcissist wanted to silence you, but your healing became your voice. One day, you realize you don't even identify as a victim anymore. You don't say, "They ruined me." You say, "I learned from it." The experience no longer defines your worth. It refined it. The pain that once felt unbearable now feels distant, like an old dream that no longer has power. That's not forgetting. It's freedom. When you finally feel gratitude for the lessons, you know you've beaten them completely. Not gratitude for the abuse, but for your evolution. You see that surviving them built your boundaries, sharpened your intuition, and revealed your strength. They didn't destroy you. They introduced you to your resilience. That's the truth they'll never understand. The ultimate sign you've beaten the narcissist is peace. Simple, quiet, unwavering peace. No more chasing. No more proving. No more pain. You don't need their apology, their downfall, or their validation. You've outgrown the story entirely. While they stay trapped in their own illusions, you live free, grounded, and untouchable. That's victory. The kind that lasts forever.